Hi everyone, Leah here from EurekaCrystalBeads.com with another helpful beading video for you. Before I get started, just a quick reminder to go check out the rest of our channel, and if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button and notification bell, and you'll always know when we're posting new content. Today I have a fun necklace design for you that utilizes lovely spring colors that you can certainly do this in whatever colors you'd like, and some unique products. I'm calling this my Fleur de Crystal necklace, and it's made with products by Swarovski, 2 different kinds of check 2-hole beads, and just 1 size of seed bead, an easy on the eyes Toho 11. Let's get started by showing you the exact pieces. So here you can see we have a lovely purple color in a Toho size 11. This is our little finished project next to it. We're going to do it in purple today, but that's an example of using peridot as our center color. We're going to be using a 10mm Swarovski crystal rivoli, a 3mm Swarovski crystal bicone. We have some check honeycomb beads. Those are 2-hole beads. We also have some ever popular super duos, and we have a sterling silver chain. And the sterling silver chain I've just gone ahead and cut right in the middle because we're going to be sewing our necklace right into the center of the chain. I have some 6-pound fire line and a size 12 needle, and the amount of fire line I have is about 3/4 of a wingspan. So let's just get some of these beads dumped out here. Okay, we're going to start with our honeycomb beads, and we're going to string through the bottom hole in all 5 of them with a Toho size 11 in between each one. Okay, we're going to bring our beads to within a few inches of the end. That way we leave a tail that's long enough that we could weave in later. And we're going to tie our tail and our working thread in a square knot. That's right over left and then left over right. Like a double knot, but that second knot is backwards. Now we're going to go through the ring again just to tighten it up. Okay, we're just going to go just past where we made our knot. And we want to end by coming out of one of our size 11 seed beads. Okay, let's get started on the next step. Next, we're going to be making some little right angle weave units coming off of these size 11 seed beads. So this is really easy to do. We're simply going to pick up 3 of our size 11 seed beads, and we're going to loop back around and through the size 11 seed bead that we're coming out of. You'll see this forms a little unit, and we're going to encourage this unit just to kind of sit behind. We're going to do that with all of them. So now we have to travel through the next honeycomb bead, going through the same hole we've been using, as well as the next size 11. And we're going to repeat that process. So we're going to do this all the way around until we get back to the beginning. Okay, now that we've made all of those little units coming off the back, we encourage them all to go on the underside. We're going to go through the first 2 beads of the first one that we created. And I'll give you a nice close-up of this as well. So it'll be coming out of bead 2 in the group of 3 that we picked up. So it's the one right in the middle. Just like that. Now we're going to connect all of those second beads together. So the tips of all of those little units there, we're going to connect them together by using 3 new 11s in between each one. So I'm going to pick up 3 11s here. And I'm going to go into the tip of the next little unit there. And I don't have to worry about pulling super tight yet. This is going to be what holds our rivoli in place. So we haven't put the rivoli in there yet. So we can just pull just enough to get the beads to lay down into place, but we're not having to tighten anything super tight yet. Now we're going to come full circle, and then we're going to sit our rivoli down into place here. We're going to put it in face down, so it nestles right on the underside of those honeycomb beads. We give it a nice good tug, and it holds it into place. That's what we get from the front, and that's what we get from the back. Now I'm going to circle through this one more time just to tighten it up. At this point, I've circled all the way around and everything's a little tighter, and I'm going to stop by coming out of the middle bead in one of those groups of 3. And what I'm going to do is ladder stitch another size 11 onto that bead, which just means looping back around and through it again. And then from there, I'm going to continue around in my circle until I get to the middle bead of the next group of 3. Just like that, we have this little bead right here that eventually will flip onto the back of the rivoli. So I'll show you that one more time. We continue through until we're coming out of the middle bead in the next little group of 3 that we had added when we captured our rivoli into place. Pick up one new bead, loop back around through the bead we're coming out of, and then continue on in your circle to the middle bead in the next group of 3. Just like this. One right there. And again, eventually it'll be on the underside of the rivoli. So I'm going to do the remainders and I'll be back in a minute. All right, now that we've added all of those little square stitch beads going around, there's just 5 of them. We're going to make our way back to the very first one, and we're going to step up into that bead, which will actually end up reversing our direction. And we're going to encourage all of these beads that we've just added, well, all 5 of them, to sit on the underside of the rivoli by connecting them together with one new 11 in between. So I'm going to pick up one new toho 11, and I'm going to go through the next bead that I had added, and you're going to see how it pulls in. Just like that. And I'm going to go around again, pick up one new 11. And it pulls in. This is not only a nice way to add some interest to the back of your piece, but it's also going to protect the back of that rivoli as well. One new 11, pick up the next square stitched bead. And repeat. And then we're going to go into the very first one we were coming out of, and then just go around that circle just to tighten it up about once. But you can see how we get this nice little circle on the back that's going to help to protect and cover up the back of that rivoli. At this point, we want to work our way to the top hole in one of these honeycomb beads. So I'm just going to go up where I had ladder stitched on that size 11 because I have a nice thread path there already created. If I can get my needle in there. And then I can go up my little right angle weave unit through the 11 that's connecting the lower hole of the honeycomb bead, and then through the actual honeycomb bead. And so I can just go right up into that top hole now, just like that. And your honeycomb beads may want to cup upwards, but that's fine. We're going to encourage them to try to be as flat as possible because we want this to be flat on the top and then have our next beads that we add sort of curve towards the back. They will have the option of curving forward, but that will make your pendant sort of wobble on you a little bit. So you want to encourage this all to be flat and then curve towards the back. The next part's pretty easy. We're just going to pick up an 11, 3 super duos, and an 11. And we're going to go through the top hole of the next honeycomb bead, just like this. So I'm going to go all the way around, and I'll be back in a second. So that's what we have now. And our next step is going to be to step up into the top hole of one of these super duos in the groups that we just added. And this, of course, will reverse our direction again. What we're going to do is nest in some 3mm crystals in between these super duos, and then nest in some seed beads and crystals in between the groups of super duos. So I'm going to pick up a 3mm crystal bicone, nest it right in there. And then another 3mm crystal bicone, nest it right into there. And then in between these little groups of 3, we're going to pick up a seed bead, a crystal, and a seed bead, and head right into the next super duo of the next group. And because this, the amount of thread we have here will be a little shorter than the amount we're going around, that's what's going to cause this to want to pull in. You can see it starts to pull them under, or it could pull them over, but we want to encourage them to get pulled under. So I'm just going to keep going around, and I'll see you back in a second. So at this point, I've added in all of my crystals and seed beads to go around the outer perimeter of my pendant, and I've pulled it snug so that way, as you can see, it tends to fold towards the back. And I've ended by coming out of a middle super duo in one of those groups of 3, because now we're going to attach our chain. This is what makes this a bit more of a necklace rather than a pendant, is because it's actually going to be sewed into the chain, which I think is a really nice way to do it. But you can certainly just create any old type of bail, and you can have it be a pendant or even an earring if you'd like. So attaching the chain is really easy. We're going to pick up 2 of our size 11 seed beads, and we're going to go through the link of chain, because remember, I had cut the middle of the chain, so I have this end link that was right in the center. We're going to pick up another 2 seed beads, and I'm going to loop back around through the super duo that I'm coming out of. And that's what we get to attach it to our chain. And now all I'm going to do is loop back around through this again to reinforce it, travel all the way to the middle super duo in just the next section over, and I'm going to attach the other half of the chain in the same fashion. So I'll be back in a sec. Okay, this is our finished pendant, sewn right into our chain, featuring that 10mm Swarovski crystal rivoli and these really fun check 2-hole beads. Hope you guys loved it. That wraps it up. Thank you for watching. Make sure to visit us on over at EurekaCrystalBeads.com for all the materials I used in this video, as well as any of your other beading and jewelry needs. Bye.